Tonight, assault charges for the former principal of a Saskatoon private Christian school. Also, why a sinkhole in a Regina backyard will cost the city of Regina hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Your dad does something so awesome that 30,000 people scream.
An ode to his dad. Ahead of Father's Day this weekend, Adam Ennis offers a tribute to the man we only knew as Gaynor the Gopher.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Thursday, June 15th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening and thank you for watching. We begin tonight with tragic news out of Manitoba. RCMP say 15 people are dead and 10 people are injured after a crash on the Trans-Canada Highway a half hour east of Brandon. Police say there was a collision between a semi-trailer truck and a bus carrying about 25 people from Dauphin, most of whom were seniors. Dozens of emergency vehicles raced to the scene and air ambulances were deployed from Winnipeg and Regina. First responders tried to deal with flames as they worked to rescue victims. Police were telling people to stay off the Trans-Canada Highway in the area while they dealt with the crash, and investigators looked to Saskatchewan for advice on how to handle it.
This incident does have echoes of the tragic collision that happened in Humboldt, Saskatchewan, and we are very much aware of that. We have already linked into the investigators in Saskatchewan who have firsthand experience and were some of the primary investigators in the investigation into the Humboldt crash, who are assisting us right now in any way we can. Even at the outset of an investigation such as this, we need to be alive to the fact that there could be wrongdoing. And if so, there could be a criminal element to this investigation. We need to get everything right.
RCMP say 10 of the passengers were taken to hospital with injuries and that the number of casualties could change into the evening. The crash happened just before noon today. Police say the initial investigation determined the bus carrying the seniors was going south and was crossing the eastbound lanes of the Trans-Canada Highway when it got hit by the semi. Former students of a private Christian school in Saskatoon say they feel validated tonight. For nearly 2 years, they've been speaking out and filing complaints to police about alleged abuse within the church and school. Now, the former principal is facing 11 charges of assault with a weapon. Dane Patterson reports.
65-year-old Duff Friesen from Prince Albert appeared here in Saskatoon Provincial Court on Thursday afternoon. He faces 11 charges of assault with a weapon. Former students say Friesen used to be a teacher and the principal at Saskatoon's Christian Center Academy, now known as Legacy Christian Academy. Caitlin Erickson filed a police complaint against Friesen. She's one of the alleged victims who say they were paddled for minor issues like turning around their chair or taking too long in the bathroom.
So those are the types of offenses. We're not talking about students that were physically assaulting other students or causing property damage. These are very, very silly and totally normal developmental things that kids do that they would literally beat us for.
Police say several people came forward with assault allegations against Friesen in 2021 and 2022. He turned himself into police early Thursday. Former students in the courtroom say they hadn't seen him in more than a decade, but still remember their experiences.
I went into school every single day throughout my childhood being absolutely terrified to be in that building. So to have it flipped and see him in a state of obviously very uncomfortable, not happy with what's going on, it is very validating to feel like our stories are being heard. People are recognizing just how severe the abuse was.
Since CBC News first reported on allegations of widespread abuse at the school and church, dozens of former students have filed criminal complaints against nearly 24 officials and volunteers from the faith-based institutions. The complainants are expecting more charges.
There's a lot of students who came forward, a lot of police complaints. There was over 60-something police complaints. So this is really just the start to a lot of more criminal complaints coming down the line.
Friesen was released on conditions. He can't hold a position of authority over children under 18 years old, either as a volunteer or as an employee, and he can't contact any of the complainants or their families. He'll be back in court in a month. Dane Patterson, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Last week, the Bank of Canada decided to raise its base lending rate to 4.75%. The goal, to have a cooling effect on inflation. But in Saskatchewan, the effect on real estate isn't the same as metropolitan areas. The bank's increase takes the lending rate to its highest level since 2001. A series of increases did cool off real estate prices in Saskatchewan, but since January, things have started increasing again. The CEO of the Saskatchewan Realtors Association says it's all because of inventory and a lack of it. Chris Garrett says the benchmark house price for the province has gone up 2% from last month to just below $330,000.
Prices will continue to feel that pressure and creep up a little bit because we don't have a lot of housing in inventory. What we like to see is we like to have a healthy inventory, and so when we have individuals who are going into that housing market or moving up and down, then there's a comfort level there, and there's no pressure on individuals to buy quickly or to take a lot of time to find what suits their needs.
Saskatoon's benchmark price is up to $380,000. Regina's is at $316,000. Garrett says a balanced market would be about a 6-month supply. Right now in Regina, it's 2.4 months. In Saskatoon, it's about 2 months. The Bank of Canada's goal is to get inflation down to 2%. A massive sinkhole in a Regina backyard has prompted an emergency response by the city. It's spending hundreds of thousands of dollars and slowing down traffic on Albert Street to fix the problem. The homeowners invited Adam Hunter into their backyard to learn more.
Theodosia and Tom Carefoot's backyard is normally a place for their 4 children, dogs, and neighborhood kids to play. For the foreseeable future, it's unsafe, fenced off with at least a 3-meter deep sinkhole covered by a tarp. The hole was caused by a collapsed stormwater pipe installed in the 1940s.
It was extremely scary because all the kids were, like they usually do, out in the yard playing, and the night before they were playing out in the rain.
After a heavy rainfall on June 1st, the Carefoot's newly installed turf began to sink. That was the first clue. After a couple of days, a city crew did an investigation and discovered this massive sinkhole. The broken pipe is about 2 meters in diameter. The pipe carried stormwater from as far as Winnipeg Street into the creek.
We had no idea that we had such a pipe system in the yard. Like when we bought the house, it wasn't knowledge that was privy to us. So it would have been nice to know, especially when you invest so much money in your property and your landscaping and then the safety of your family. Like, it'd be nice to know these things.
Carefoot's daughter is disappointed. Her yard is now off limits.
I was a little bit afraid if the play structure would fall because that kind of worried me if our house would kind of break or something.
The city says it will spend up to $300,000 to put in a temporary bypass system. That will include approximately 9 large pumps that will be activated during rainstorm events and ensure that rainwater gets into Wascana Creek. Work started on Thursday morning and reduced traffic to 1 lane on Albert Street heading south.
We are in an emergency situation where it is critical to get this temporary stormwater pipe up and going. We do believe that any rainwater that falls will make its way through the broken pipe and into Wascana Creek, but we need to move quickly to ensure that we have a temporary stormwater system in place.
The city says because the area in the backyard and on the west side of the bridge is so small, it has to work on the east side of Albert Street Bridge and into the park. It says this solution is only temporary. It will work on a permanent fix once the emergency situation has been dealt with. Adam Hunter, CBC News, Regina.
The Regina Folk Festival is making an urgent plea for help. In a statement today, it says it's in a serious financial crisis. Folk Festival is held each August in Regina's Victoria Park. Organizers say it's struggling and needs the public's assistance. They say the past several years have been hard due to the pandemic, stagnant funding, decreased sponsorship, and increased expenses. They're also seeing reduced ticket sales. The festival is asking fans to spread the word, to buy tickets in advance, and to donate, volunteer, or sign up as a sponsor. Late in May, the festival announced the immediate departure of its executive director. Its finance manager has taken on the role temporarily while the festival searches for a replacement. A lovely day for a little outdoor breakfast in Saskatoon. Today was the 47th annual Civic Pancake Breakfast. Mayor Charlie Clark, city councillors, and other celebrity pancake flippers were serving up the goods. Of course, there was plenty of entertainment too. All proceeds go to the United Way Saskatoon and area. We'll be back after the break. The Saskatchewan Roughriders host their home opener tomorrow night, and it's going to be a grudge match against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Both teams head into the game with Week 1 wins behind them, but questions have swirled around the Riders after a number of injuries. Several Week 1 starters are out this week. Quarterback Trevor Harris has been nursing a hip injury all week and will be a game-time decision. But the Riders have a next-man-up mentality, and the players in tomorrow's lineup are itching to play against their prairie rivals.
When I see blue, I just want to win. That's how it is. Like the W's on everything, I just want to take it off and put it in our little category so it could be 2-0.
I'm part of the family now, so if it's a rivalry, throw blows, you throw blows. It's going to be a very physical game, and obviously we don't like the other side, so give it all I got and get a win out of this game tomorrow.
Tomorrow's game in Regina kicks off at 7 o'clock at Mosaic Stadium. I can't take those hats seriously. A key member of the Saskatchewan Roughriders organization has retired. The man who served as Gaynor the Gopher for 30 years has hung up his costume. And while someone else is taking over, Gaynor's son says no one can replace his dad in his heart. So as we look ahead to Father's Day this coming weekend, he shares this tribute to his dad.
My name is Adam Ennis. My dad was Gaynor the Gopher for the Saskatchewan Roughriders for a long time, 30 plus years. My dad's name is Terry Ennis Jr. He began doing non-game Gaynor appearances in the mid-'80s. He began doing games in the 90s. He shared game duties up until 1999, and then after that was just my dad. He took that opportunity to create a character, and he crafted that character for years, and it is the character that people fell in love with and would request at everything from weddings to funerals, and he's done both and everything in between. My memories always land on him running out of the tunnel. Sometimes with the flag, sometimes not. But when he came out and there were people there that would cheer, it's kind of a weird thing. It always was a weird thing for me because it's people cheering for Gaynor, the character that he created and that they know and love, and maybe they saw him at a barbecue or they saw him on a TV commercial or they can't wait for him to do Go Riders or whatever. But for me, it's just my dad. I start to feel like I'm going to cry. So the reason why I get emotional is because it's kind of I feel it's probably like a unique thing that your dad does something so awesome that 30,000 people scream. But again, it's strange because they're not screaming for Terry Ennis Jr., they're screaming for Gaynor. But when I get goosebumps and I tear up, it's not because of Gaynor, it's because of Terry Ennis Jr. Everything he taught me, both as Gaynor and Terry, lives in my heart. It will forever. So as I sit here crying in this stool, that's what I would say to my dad on Father's Day. Also, happy Father's Day.
This weather update is brought to you by Capital GMC Buick Cadillac. Used car savings is on now.
Well, now that we've laughed at giant hats and unmasked a legend, Ethan Williams has to follow that with the weather.
How do I do that? I mean, I've had to wear one of those mascot costumes before. It gets hot in there, so props to Terry for doing that all those years. But today, you wouldn't have to worry about sweltering in one of those costumes for sure, because it has been a lot cooler in most portions of the province, thanks to a low pressure system that is sitting over west central Saskatchewan. And that has kind of this stationary boundary with it here. The cooler air in behind it, still warm though on kind of the east side of it. Southeastern Saskatchewan, we saw temperatures into the mid-20s today, but in the Cypress Hills, we barely got above 10 degrees this afternoon. And a lot of us on the western side of the province kind of sitting in those low to mid-teens through the afternoon today, and the wind has not helped. Almost feeling like fall in that part of the province as westerly gusts get up between 50 and 60 kilometers an hour. We're still sitting there really in a lot of the province right now. Now that low pressure system and the frontal boundary interacting with a bit of an ingredient in the atmosphere that creates thunderstorms and can spin them, and that has put out a funnel cloud advisory we sometimes get funnel clouds or some weak land spout tornadoes from systems like that move through. These aren't really strong tornadoes from big supercell thunderstorms or anything like that, and I think the time for the primary threat for this has now passed, but the advisory is still in effect. So keep in mind Buffalo Narrows south to the Battlefords, Lloydminster, keep an eye out for that through the evening tonight. This low pressure system going to be moving north and east, bringing some more rain to the north tonight, much needed in that area. High pressure going to keep things cool in the southwest. Temperatures only around 5 degrees tonight. As that moves eastward tomorrow, we continue to see clearing and a bit of a rebound in temperatures in south and central, and really actually through all of the province as that low pressure center begins to move out. I think we'll see a nice clear day here and there through the province. And then another low pressure system moves in as that high pressure moves out, and that creates the possibility of some more showers in the north and maybe some showers and thunderstorms in south and central Saskatchewan, kind of looking at a mix of sun and cloud for Saturday. 5 to 10 millimeters in central and eastern portions, especially of the far north overnight tonight. And then that second round Friday night into Saturday could bring another 5 to 10 to western sections. And that means that the fire risk, thankfully, much lower in much of the north of the province. Southern Saskatchewan, keep in mind, we are still kind of in that high to extreme risk. And we have seen a little bit more forest fire smoke in south and central today, but westerly winds going to be pulling that out. Not much smoke in behind that, thankfully. So the next couple of days here, we should be seeing a reprieve from that. Now, in terms of winds, things going to be dying down overnight tonight and through tomorrow as well. Could be a bit breezy at times, gusts 30 to 40, but overall through the weekend, things going to be calm, except in the north when that next system moves through, could see gusts in the 40 to 50 range. Regina, nice and pleasant tomorrow, 23 under some sunshine and lighter winds, and then things not really changing all that much. Temperatures just going to kind of hover around seasonal for this time of year. And Saskatoon, you'll get to enjoy that as well. Some sun and cloud for the most part, maybe some showers here and there. Overnight lows still pretty pleasant. A forecast that I think would impress Goldilocks, Sam.
Pleasant. It's been a long time since we've just been pleasant.
I know, right? I can't remember the last time it was that way.
Thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
Oh boy, homeowners in the Florida Keys found an unwelcome visitor taking a midnight dip in the family pool. Wildlife experts were called in to remove this big crocodile from its newfound swimming hole. The massive reptile put up quite a fight before wranglers finally reined it in. It was eventually moved to open water and released back into the wild. We'll be back after the break. Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino dodged questions today and was unable to explain why he was not informed by his office earlier about serial killer and rapist Paul Bernardo's prison transfer. It comes after news that the Prime Minister's office also said it knew back in March about a possible transfer. Ashley Burke has the latest.
What happened in your office, Minister? Good morning.
A cabinet minister in crisis, facing growing calls to step down.
Will he do the honorable thing and resign right here, right now?
I'm focused on one thing and one thing only, and that is doing my job.
Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino called to testify at a parliamentary committee on foreign interference, but couldn't escape questions about his latest controversy, Paul Bernardo. Mendicino said he didn't know about Bernardo's prison transfer until after it happened, despite his office and the Prime Minister's office both saying they were given advance warning back in March.
There is no doubt in my mind, Madam Chair, that the Minister had the information about this transfer.
That question is so posed with is riddled with inaccuracies and falsehoods, it doesn't even begin to warrant an answer.
Mendocino gave a brief statement.
I've taken the corrective steps to ensure that that does not happen again.
Then tried to avoid taking any questions from journalists.
Is it standard operating procedure at your office that you are kept in the dark? And will you let anyone go in response to the handling of this?
Of course not. And my job as the Minister of Public Safety is to make sure that we are identifying issues where there are challenges on information flow.
Mendocino unable to explain why he says staff didn't brief him for nearly 90 days.
There should be consequences in his office, certainly. But this is a broader problem within this government.
Did you fire someone? They didn't give you such information?
As ministers, we're ultimately responsible for what happens in our offices.
Then Mendocino took a back seat in question period, letting the House Leader answer the opposition leader.
His office knew 3 months beforehand, and his cabinet has the power to direct the correctional authorities to keep mass murderers in maximum security prisons.
It's unfortunate that the Leader of the Opposition mischaracterized what happened. He knows very well that Correctional Services Canada makes those decisions independently.
The question now is, does the Prime Minister still have confidence in Mendocino? And will he come out now and publicly defend him or not? Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
And Ethan's back with one last look at your weather.
Well, I promised pleasant, and so I guess I better deliver. We're looking at pretty nice conditions, actually, tomorrow in Regina at 8 a.m. Not too warm and not too cold. 15 degrees, mainly sunny skies, and those northwest winds not too strong either, just kind of a nice light breeze. Afternoon clouds clear out, will be around 20 degrees. We'll probably get around the 22, 23 degree mark by tomorrow afternoon. In Saskatoon, you won't miss out either. Also 15 degrees tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Those winds from the west helping to push the remainder of that forest fire smoke out, and by tomorrow afternoon sitting in the low 20s, winds nice, lots of sunshine. The north getting to see some sunshine tomorrow after the rain, but not before this beautiful rainbow spotted by Judy at Sandy Beach Resort. And so a nice rainbow and nice low fire risk as well, Sam. Great for that part of the province.
This makes me just want to go golfing now.
I know, right?
Perfect weather. Thank you.
You bet.
And before we go, the official grand opening of the new Wascana Pool in Regina was held this afternoon. Speaking of perfect weather, about 200 students from Arcola Community School were on hand for a formal ribbon cutting and a pool party afterward.
3, 2, 1!
The new $16.5 million facility opened to the public last week, and there is at least one kink still being worked out. It's this button. City officials say kids keep pushing the emergency stop button for the water slides, and it was taking staff half an hour or more to get the slides going again.
It happens to be a red button on a red stick right beside the water slides. Very inviting for young people to push, which of course emergency shut off for the water slide. Imperative that we have it. So they're going to be working on a system to kind of create some cover so that adults could access it when needed.
There's no word on when the solution will be in place, but staff are now able to get the slides flowing again in just a few minutes if they need to. Until then, they're just asking you not to push the big red button. Just don't push the button. That's it for us tonight. For News Anytime, you can always head to our website or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Ethan will be back with more local news at 11. Thanks for watching and have a great night. Don't push the button.